Well, to a debate on First Edition this morning after more than 200 pubs and bars have banned Australia Day celebrations from taking place in 2025, claiming it causes sadness and hurt. So this is according to the owners. It's an Australian venue company. They've instructed managers of these venues not to acknowledge or celebrate the day. So in a statement, a spokesperson has said the group's pubs celebrate what makes Australia great throughout the year. The company owns at least 90 pubs in Queensland, nearly 60 in Victoria, almost 20 in SA and 10 in Sydney. So there's a lot of them. And the ban has received quite a response from both sides of politics on First Edition this morning.
I mean, commercially it's stupid because it's a big day, that it's a public holiday, that Australians go out. But we had the voice. It was absolutely resoundingly defeated. And a lot of that defeat was driven by Indigenous Australians saying, absolutely, we don't want to be treated differently. And they celebrate Australia Day, many of them, in the same sort of way as non-Indigenous Australians.
As to what individuals do and organisations, that's up to them. It's a free country.
Yeah.
We're not going to force anyone to celebrate the day. But from the government's perspective, it's our national day and it's the day we come together.
Yeah, Matt just said just go to another pub. And others have said the same. Well, joining us live now is the Centre for Independent Studies, Warren Mundine. Good to see you, Warren.
Good to see you, Peter.
So let's start off with this story here. What do you make of it?
Look, I'm getting a bit sick and tired of this stuff coming out all the time. I'm on public record about changing the date. I wanted it so we can all celebrate together. But I sort of had this epiphany with the Woolworths thing. I've come to the realisation some of these corporations, they just don't want to celebrate it no matter what day it's on. And the idea that they just said they'll be celebrated every day. Well, why put a ban on one day? Why don't we celebrate it every day then? Look, Australia Day, and it's like your family, coming from overseas. Yeah. My family being here in Australia for thousands of years, plus one of my ancestors come from overseas, the Irishman, come here in 1870. Yeah. We all come into this country as and we made this country a better country. A lot of people come here, they couldn't speak English, they're escaping from wars overseas and oppression and everything. They come here and saw Australia as an opportunity. Why don't we celebrate them on Australia Day? Why don't we celebrate Australians who are making this country better? Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously you were high profile during the No campaign last year, and Holly Hughes pointed to this morning, suggesting, well, shouldn't there, when it comes to corporate Australia, shouldn't there have been a lesson learned from that?
That's what I'm laughing about. I listened to Craig Lowndy this morning, and he said, look, if these corporates want to be involved in politics, quit their job, run for Parliament, and see what happens. We're getting sick and tired of these corporates telling us, what to do and what not to do. Even to their staff, I'm sure there's a few of their staff who want to celebrate Australia Day. Well, they're not allowed to do it now. They're not allowed to put a little tattoo of a flag on and not paint their face green and gold or whatever, do the stupid stuff, or put a flag up, an Australian flag. Grow up. Let's grow up and actually start working together. At building this country, and also let's start dealing with the real issues. Look at all the violence that's happening around Australia. We had 2 elections recently, which was about those crimes. And we got all this the domestic violence stuff that would just come out over the weekend, and all this stuff. Come on, let's start focusing on the real stuff. Stop all this nonsense and then celebrate together.
Yeah, Paul Murray made some interesting points last night, and he's drawing a hypocritical link here with a group, and it's not these individual pubs. It's the overseer of all of these pubs who are making that decision. Where so they don't want to celebrate Australia Day because it hurts some patrons. Well, what about alcohol? That hurts patrons. What about poker machines and gambling? That surely hurts patrons as well. I mean, is there a dose of hypocrisy in all of this? Well,
look, last year during the referendum, we had all that rights in Alice Springs and that, and guess what that was about? Alcohol. I get look. If you want to come out and try and be a Puritan and say, look at us, we're so wonderful and good. Well, stop selling Aboriginals alcohol and causing all the problems that we see in those communities and the riots and the domestic violence and all that type of stuff. Look, they're opening themselves up for a flogging, and they're going to be flogged over the next few weeks. They come out early. They're going to be flogged right up to Australia Day. And for what? For what?
Do you think, and you referred to this in your first answer, I mean, is there a sense of inevitability that it's not going to happen now? Anthony Albanese and his team have said, no, we're not going to make any changes. It would be politically risky for anyone to do it, I think. But is it down the track, is there an inevitability that the date will have to be changed just to stop all of this?
No, I don't know. I'm a supporter. The only problem with it, and what I've come to the conclusion is, no matter what date you pick, there's always going to be a problem.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And so, you know, as I said, I'm about moving the date. In fact, I made a suggestion which I suddenly realised was very un-Australian, which is celebrate the day of Federation, which is the 1st of December. But that's New Year's 1st of January. That's New Year's Day, and that means I'd have to give up a public holiday, and that's very un-Australian. So look, let's work it through with a common sense approach. Stop banning people and stop banning events, because all that does is even their own staff are going to have problems with that because they're so proud Australians.
Yeah. Even though they shouldn't. Yeah, the staff just want to get on and do their job.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Warren.
Good to see you too.
Talk to you soon.